What's up everyone, I'm Alex from Boards, Bikes, and Hikes, and today I wanted to share with you how I went to Colorado last season for $500. Yes, that's it, for a weekend in Colorado. I did a day at a basin, a day at Keystone, and a day at Breckenridge. I spent only $500 and I want to share with you how I was able to do that. Now these strategies are targeted at Colorado and best used for the late and early season. However, these strategies can be used across the board, any trip, any ski or snowboard destination you're trying to go to. These strategies are going to help you out with that. So even if you're looking at going to somewhere else, I think this is still going to help you out. Number one on the list is use a flight tracker. Personally, I like to use Google Flight Tracker or Hopper, and I'll use either one of these apps because the thing I like about both of them is that it shows you a full calendar view, so you're able to view the prices of the flights across a whole, multiple month period. That way you can pick out the cheapest times to go to these destinations. Now, typically those cheapest times are going to be at the beginning or end of the season just because there is less terrain open. Makes it more affordable and you're still going to get a big mountain experience. Now, like I said, I use these as a tool, and then I will book that flight directly with the airline. I don't like booking through a third-party site because if you run into any issues, it's a little bit more difficult to deal with. I use those two to get the price that I'm gonna pay, and then I book it through that airline's website directly. The great thing about Google Flight Tracker in particular is that it does take you typically directly to that airline's website. When we flew to Colorado, we flew from Cincinnati to Denver. It was a direct flight, so take a direct flight if that is an option for you, or consider driving to an airport that may be a little further away, but it's gonna give you that more direct route. That's gonna cut down on your cost significantly. We have an airport in Lexington, Kentucky that's 10 minutes from my house, but we drove an hour and a half to Cincinnati because they did offer that direct flight to Denver, and we only paid $100 for it, which was an awesome deal, $100 round trip. The next thing on the list is watching those lift ticket prices. Your best bet is gonna be able to buy an early season lift ticket. The earlier before the season starts, the better deal you're gonna get on those lift tickets because they have all sorts of great prices and deals on the Epic Pass, the Icon Pass, all those resorts that are encompassed by that. You can buy the small multi-day tickets, and if you buy that way before the season, the price is going to be significantly cheaper. Now they do have deals at the end of season as well, typically because there's a little bit less terrain open, so it's more like spring riding tickets, but your best bet is going to be to buy those tickets if you know you're going to go as early as possible. Now the next tip I want to talk to you about is to bring as many people as possible. Bring all the homies. The more people that you have go with you, that's going to be people to help divvy up that room cost, as well as potentially transportation cost if you rent a car. Which is going to segue me right into that fourth tip, which is deciding what's going to be the better option for you financially, the rental car or taking a bus or shuttle. Now, depending on where you're going and how many people they're going with you, it might be cheaper to rent a car versus take a shuttle. There is plenty of shuttles from Denver to Breckenridge, Vail, Keystone, all of that. However, if you have, I think for us, it wound up being if we had like 4 or more people, it was cheaper for us to rent a car. And the great thing about renting a car is you are able to then split that price across all of the people that are going with you. I think the best tool for finding a rental car is Hopper. And again, I use it just as a tool because it shows me which rental car company is going to give me the best price on that rental car. And then I'll go directly through that rental car's website to actually book the vehicle. In terms of Denver Airport, at the time when we went, dollar rental car was by far the cheapest. And despite the fact that we did have a little bit of trouble, I could cover that in a whole nother video. It's kind of a thing in itself, but I will say the thing that was nice about it at the end of the day was the car got us to and from where we needed to go. It was way cheaper, and there was no additional fees or extra charges that some of these other rental car companies like to add on when you show up. So I paid exactly what I knew, exactly what I thought I was going to pay, and there was no surprise additional charges, which was really great. The fifth thing on this list is the room that you're going to stay in. I found the best place to find rooms is on Airbnb and VRBO. Both of them have apps. They're really great, and the rooms on these two apps are far cheaper than anything else I've found, whether using Expedia, Kayak, anything like that. And it's also a lot better to find a room that's going to be a little bit bigger than your traditional hotel room, which, especially if you're going with more people, is really great. We were able to get a really big condo. We split it amongst all 6 of us that wound up going. And like I said, these two apps just have a much better price point at most of these ski resorts than your typical hotel rates that you're going to find. And one other great thing about both of these apps is they allow you to make that initial deposit, and then you can pay the rest when the date actually comes to your trip. You don't have to pay it all up front if you don't want to. You can just make that down deposit and then pay the rest when the trip actually shows up. And lastly on this list, this is a big money saving tip, so you don't want to miss this one, is to just go grocery shopping. When you go to these resorts, you're going to ski, snowboard, whatever. You don't want to spend all your money at the resort on food because resort food is really, really pricey. So what we do, we get there, we go to the grocery, and we buy snacks and things to have for breakfast, things that we can put in our backpacks. Like I buy the Uncrustables. I'll buy a pack of frozen Uncrustables, stick them in my backpack as I'm snowboarding all day. They unthaw, sandwiches, protein bars, whatever. That way you're gonna spend less on your breakfast and snacks, and then you can splurge and treat yourself to a really nice dinner. Plus, by packing your snacks, eating your breakfast in your room, you're gonna get on the mountain earlier. You're not gonna have to come off the mountain to take a snack break. So it's gonna give you more ride time overall, which that's the whole reason you're going, right? Is to snowboard and ride as much as you possibly can. If you all found this video helpful, please smash that like button. It's gonna really help me out. I hope I was able to give you some tips and tricks, and hopefully you're able to book a cheap, great early season trip to Colorado like we did. It was awesome. Truly one of the best decisions I made to go, because we got to go in early November, and then our local mountain didn't open until January. So that gave us, we got to get some riding in way before we would have otherwise. And despite the fact that there is limited runs open, you're still snowboarding in Colorado, which, I mean, it's about as good as it gets, you know? So definitely worthwhile, definitely worth making the trip. If you aren't going to Colorado, again, all of these tips and tricks, the apps, everything I use can be used to go to any of these other mountains, anywhere else you're looking at going. So I hope I'm able to save you a few bucks. That way you're able to take multiple trips instead of maybe just one. I've got a lot more content that's gonna cover different travel tips, some resort reviews. We are going to Utah in January, so I'm gonna have videos coming out on that as well. Got a ton of great stuff coming to get you amped up and geared up for snowboard season. So thanks for checking me out. Again, I'm Alex from Boards, Bikes, and Hikes. You can follow me on here, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Reels, all the social media platforms. I post content every single day, although YouTube is my primary focus. I post multiple shorts every day as well, so be on the lookout for that. Again, thank you for spending some time with me, and hope I helped you out. We'll see you on the slope soon.